Hello and welcome to the print. Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah handed over his resignation to the Raj Bhavan today, ending weeks of speculation about the leadership change in the state. Well, will DK Shivakumar finally be elevated as the Chief Minister? What does it mean for the Congress, but also the repercussions for the BJP too? To discuss this and much more, we have with us Sugata Srinivasaraju, who is an author and analyst. Joining us is also my colleague from Bangalore, who has been keeping us updated with all the latest happenings, that have been taking place in Karnataka. I would like to begin with Mr. Sugata Srinivasaraju first. Sir, how do you see, what unfolded today in Karnataka? What does it mean for Siddaramaiah, considering, he himself pointed out that he was offered the Rajya Sabha seat, but he refused?
Well, it was a much expected transition because he had overstayed. In fact, he was supposed to go in November, but he was busy chasing a record of former Chief Minister Devraj Aras. So I think he had made a request that he wanted to break that record. So he was just waiting. He had stayed on, and I think it is just he had overstayed and he has just moved on now. But what happens after this is he has refused to take the Raj Sabha bait. He has never sort of been in national politics like other senior politicians in Karnataka who have done stints in Delhi and long stints in Karnataka legislature. But I think he has very consciously refused that. There could be many reasons for that. One could be the fact that he's not very familiar with Hindi or English, and then it's also getting accustomed to Delhi may not be his cup of tea. It is not like the Nitish Kumar case where Nitish had spent a lot of time in Delhi earlier as minister, and he's from the Hindi belt. So the comfort levels are very, very different. So that is one obvious reason. The second thing is then Siddaramaiah is an inveterate politician. I don't think he would like to sit quiet because he has scores to settle and he has people to place. And I think he's going to be a backbencher continuing to manipulate Karnataka politics. So that's probably the primary motive. And he enjoys his afternoon naps and evening, probably, company of his friends. And all that Delhi would take away all that, you see, in the sense that it makes him a little irrelevant. So staying in Karnataka keeps a lot of things burning. So it's a kind of a simmering situation anyway. He doesn't get along famously with very well with DK Shivakumar. So that's a known thing. So this whole business of transition itself was being seen as a bit of, there was an iffiness about it. And ever since he has decided to resign and he resigned, see, if you look at social media, the Kannada social media, there is a kind of indispensability that is being created about his going away. His trolls, his paid trolls are, and his supportive, clan is trying to speak a language as if tomorrow BJP has come to power and the communal forces would raise their heads. But they have forgotten the fact it's the Congress government that it is transitioning into, and DK Shivakumar, by all standards, has been a congressman for far too long than Siddaramaiah. Siddaramaiah joined the party in 2006. DK has been in the party since 1980s. And having said that, the image and the perception of both DK and Siddaramaiah are extremely different. See, Siddaramaiah's image has been managed well from the days he has been in the Janta Parivar. But DK, because he had to break into a big league, he was a toughie, he was a muscle man, he was a money manager. He tried to call himself a troubleshooter. So there is a dichotomy in the image that DK is seen outside of Karnataka and the way DK is perceived inside Karnataka. So inside Karnataka, he does not have that kind of image that Siddaramaiah commanded. It could be with regard to identity politics or the caste combinations that he's able to sort of, at least claim that he commands support of. So things like that, welfare ideas. So he's seen more as DK. If one assumes that DK is going to take over, and it looks like he will, DK is seen more as a businessman, more as a fixer, more as a toughie, a person who who sort of rose because he could manage a lot of things for SM Krishna, into whose family he's now married his daughter into. So he has a very complicated kind of past. I mean, he's going to become the chief minister. I don't want to say everything about his past because it's too controversial. And he has been confronted at every bend in his political career with corruption charges, and also the top liberal intellectuals of the state have confronted him publicly, and several cases are running. It could be about his mining activities, it could be about several other things. So it's not he's a very complicated figure, but Congress, has he been a loyal congressman? Whatever loyal congressman means, he has been that. So where he went to jail, and he was seen as sheltering MLAs who were, finding it difficult to, who could not resist being poached in other states. So it started with Deshmukh's government. So Maharashtra MLAs came here. Then he staked, he sort of built his reputation by also keeping the MLAs of Gujarat MLAs when Ahmad Patel had that narrow victory then. So he has very cleverly built a certain kind of indebtedness in the high command for himself. So I think that is his loyalty quotient, and that is what he always keeps saying, that I am loyal. And the other thing is he's overtly theistic, ritualistic. I wouldn't say theistic, ritualistic. See, temple goer, astrology seeker. So Siddaramaiah probably did all that clandestinely. Probably his wife was praying for him, but then he kept a kind of socialist, atheist kind of an image outside. So politicians, some people know how to hide well, and some sort of put it out there. So in terms of Siddaramaiah and DK, being this kind of political personalities, DK has been, you get what you see in DK. When it comes to Siddaramaiah, it's not so. Siddaramaiah is far more complicated. You have to peel off layers of masks, and to know what Siddaramaiah really is. So that's a broad stroke summary of what you could
Right.
expect.
You mentioned the word loyalty, so I was just about to ask you that has loyalty in a way been rewarded? Has his DK's patience been rewarded?
So yeah, its loyalty has been certainly rewarded. So as I caveated earlier, whatever loyalty means, loyalty can mean a lot of things. See, whether you're loyal to the Congress ideology, or whatever is that secular, inclusive ideology of the Congress, or whether you're loyal to certain leaders of the high command, or whether your longevity in the party, you've stayed long enough in the party, you've never gone out, you've never disturbed that particular trajectory of yours, you've never moved out. All that could count as loyalty, because counting what do you really count as loyalty is a very important question here. But then, yes, in terms of the routine understanding of loyalty, he has been loyal to the Congress. He claims that he went to jail to sort of shelter the leaders of the Congress party, or a lot of transactions that involved the Congress party. So but somebody else looking at it may say that it was a corruption case or something else. So it's a kind of arbitrary, or a kind of relative term of definition, loyalty. So that is certainly, in a very commonsensical term, that has been rewarded. His patience has also been rewarded. See, he never sort of, the most fascinating thing that I have observed DK, which I never, to be very honest, never expected out of him, is the fact that he never sort of created trouble for Siddaramaiah even when he overshot his 2.5 year period. And initially, having sort of given up his claim to become deputy CM, and then waiting patiently for an extra 6 months, I think that was remarkable, because he is temperamental. DK is temperamental. DK can be short fuse. DK can, start speaking in a very impatient fashion. He has done all that in the past. But he has been remarkably patient. So one does not know if he has undergone a kind of huge transformation in his personality in the last few years, because he was trying to prepare himself to become the chief minister, and the chief ministerial chair expects a certain kind of decorum. So probably he was picking all that up, and probably age must have muted him a little or matured him a little. So he has certainly been patient. He's been certainly loyal. But coming to Siddaramaiah, the loyalty thing, uh, compared to DK, Siddaramaya's, I mean, one will have to, the indictment of Siddaramaiah will be far harsher when it comes to loyalty, because, he has always sort of threatened a kind of, threatened to walk out whenever he has not been accommodated or his wishes have not been accommodated. One saw that in 2008 when Karge was KPCC president and Siddaramaiah state claim to be the opposition leader. And when that was not heeded immediately, he eventually did become, but when that was not heeded immediately, I think a lot of signals were sent about his crossover to the BJP. So this is one bad phase. Then I think even before that, when the Janta Parivar itself split, the 99 split, where Janta Dal S and Janta Dal U, the two splinters out of Janta Dal, the United Janta Dal. Even at that time, when I was writing the biography of Devegowda, I've come across Madhu Dandavate's papers and others where he expresses a certain kind of skepticism about his loyalty to the Janta Dal secular. But then he finally stuck to Janta Dal secular. Then the other most interesting thing was 2019, when the Congress had a coalition government with the Janata Dal S, 17 people who crossed over to the BJP to help Yadurappa become the chief minister then were apparently all loyalists of Siddaramaiah. So Siddaramaiah has had this great relationship with Yadurappa. There has been a certain kind of give and take and some kind of adjustment, quote unquote. In local parlance, it's called adjustment politics. So they've had that kind of a political arrangement. One props up the other, across party lines, and they keep it very, very within the circle. That kind of a power sharing kind of thing is something that one has seen. So compared to DK, Siddaramaiah has been more fickle and more fidel. Infidel is what I would like to say.
Okay. So I mean, you've known Siddaramaiah for a very, very long time. For starters, can you just help us understand? I mean, we thought he was going to give a tough fight about this entire asking him to step down. We've seen him resist any attempt to sort of curtail his powers in the past. What makes you, I mean, what do you make of him just agreeing to what the high command said? And I mean, how do you see that entire thing episode, sir? It's still a little difficult for us to, see that, he so quickly agreed to everything, and he's at least giving the impression that he is facilitating a very smooth transition of power. It's not what in politically he's known for.
Absolutely, you've hit the nail on the head. So he was never known for this kind of a smooth transition, and that makes me very, very, as a journalist, me and Neelam probably, I mean, our antennas would go up the moment somebody who's known to disrupt all the time. I watched him from his days in the Janta Party, Janta Dal, and his days in early days in Congress, and then later as chief minister, first term, then the second term, and all that. He's never someone who uh, is so accommodative of the party high command. In fact, when I was the editor of the biggest Kannada newspaper in his first term, there was a story which we did which annoyed him, which was, we had asked at the end of 4 years how many times has he visited the KPCC office. So it was about power. It was Vidhan Sauda. It was never the KPCC office. So party work is something that Siddaramaiah has never done either. I mean, it could be Janata Dal or it could be the Congress party. Party work is something that he has never done. He has probably never raised funds outside when he was not in power. He's not probably gone out of his way to do things. So when a Shamiana is erected, he'll come and give you a grand speech. That has been his image. So one is really not sure let us put it in, I mean, try to make it as euphemistic as possible. One is not really sure as to why he sort of meekly surrendered now. See, the talk was, as you may have heard, Sharan, that he will put up resistance, he may break up, or he may reactivate the regional party that he has started. He had started once and then shut it down. So there were a lot of such talk that was happening, and suddenly you see this good boy image of Siddaramaiah. Oh, I am Rahul Gandhi. I have to keep my word. I have to do that. I have to do that. That's not a language that we are familiar about Siddaramaiah. But then, I mean, he also, like DK, has become very patient and speaks a different language, has tried to become a statesmanly kind of figure, which it's very difficult to put DK in that kind of frame. So, because you've seen more of DK as a kind of toughy, character. So probably Siddaramaiah has also learned a lot of lessons. Probably Siddaramaiah has matured, or probably there's some leverage that DK has which we don't know, which has probably made him not raise his voice too much or create disturbance. So DK is very, very capable of that. Please don't forget, DK destroyed the Devagowda family last parliament elections. And we know what he's capable of. So we don't know if he had something which may have put him on the back foot. And then, I mean, also Siddaramaiah in the second term was a very ineffective person as an administrator. And the biggest charge that came against him, the corruption charge, was the Muda charge. See, Siddaramaiah's wife has never been seen in public, but the charge, she became the first accused and he became the second accused. And it's a very serious charge. And that case, I think, unnerved him a great deal because he could be picked up at any point, or it was about his family. So I think there was a lot of jitteriness about that. It has now been temporarily resolved, is what I would say, but it's not entirely closed because the commissioner of Muda is in jail, I think. I don't think he has got a bail or whatever. If the recipient is out and the guy who actually signed it for him is inside, then you can know the complications and you know what the center is capable. You saw what happened with Pinarayi Vijayan yesterday, the week after he had stepped down. So anything, a lot of complications are there. It's not an easy exit. The meekness has a lot of, the silence has a lot of sound, which is something that as journalists we are not unable to hear. But probably it'll all come out, or it may just get buried, or it may just die down. We don't know. But then there could be DK leverage, there could be Muda, fears, there could be something else. So he'll need the Congress High Command to stand by him if he is in difficulty. Somebody has to speak up for him. Then he'll need DK, who, if he's the sitting CM, to not, push things beyond a particular point. So there is a kind of give and take, perhaps. Probably that was the reason why they had a very amicable kind of, transition of power. And when they were sitting in the AICC office in Delhi, when all the senior leaders were discussing about their fates outside, these two were talking. Probably they were cutting a deal. We don't know. So anything is possible. So I think it's fun for journalists to keep speculating what could be this out of character behavior of both DK and Siddaramaiah. DK never threatened. DK always is known to threaten. DK never threatened. Siddaramaiah is always known to fight. But Siddaramaiah has gone out meekly and trying to keep his word. When did he keep his word? Deve Gowda is practically the man who made him. And he has never sort of acknowledged that. When he became chief minister the first time, I was an editor, and at that point I asked him, so are you going to see Deve Gowda? You should, because you're seeing Anantamurthy, you're seeing all the writers, you're going to every important, to make a courtesy call, but you should probably go and see Deve Gowda. He flatly refused. He said, you don't know. I think it's a very naive thing to suggest, was his response. This happened between him and me. So I know it for sure. So when did Siddaramaiah become so accommodative? When did he become so conscious of the fact that he had given a word to Rahul Gandhi? So there may be a lot
Well,
of things.
interestingly, Yeah, you mentioned Rahul Gandhi, so I really wanted to know that a lot of political analysts, a lot of politicians also within Congress, they're also crediting Rahul Gandhi not only for this particular episode, but the decisions taken recently, whether it is aligning with TVK, or choosing Mr. Satishan rather than KC Venugopal, and now this DK Shivakumar versus Siddaramaiah. So they're talking about how the High Command has finally taken a decisive decision, and also drawing parallels with what happened in Rajasthan. So the lesson learned from there.
Neelam, you are closer to the power center in Delhi. I sit far, far away. Sharan and I sit far, far away. You should also remember that the credit is also being given to Priyanka for having, made him take these decisive decisions. So there is one set of courtiers and intellectuals, quote unquote, Congress intellectuals trying to say that, oh, Rahul Gandhi has been chastened, and he has sir finally become a pragmatic politician. But there is another set within the Congress which is trying to tell you and me that, oh, no, 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 it was actually Priyanka Gandhi who pushed him to take this call. In fact, if you open the Instagram or Twitter or social media, there is a line of thought which says that it was Priyanka Gandhi who finally, made DK the chief minister. It's because Siddaramaiah had refused. I mean, Rahul had refused to meet DK. That was the kind of news that was making the rounds. So that is one part. So crediting within the family, and two. So that should tell you there are two factions operational within the Congress. One set of courtiers speaking, crediting Rahul, another set of courtiers crediting Priyanka. And that's a well-known Congress mirage that they create each time, and that has put them into deep trouble. And this time too, if they think that they've taken smart decisions, God bless them. That's a second. That's one part of the story. The second part of the story is, as journalists, we need to analyze uh, whether it was a smart decision in Kerala. See, Satishan was the right pick, but how much time did they take? Whose face did they put first? Whether the groundswell of support for Sadishan is what made them succumb. Who finally intervened? All these questions come up. So that is about Kerala that you asked. The second thing is, you are speaking about TVK. It was the most graceless exit from their alliance with the DMK. You even amateur politicians would create a kind of argument before they walk out of an alliance. This was just done in post haste. They just walked into somebody who got power. And don't forget, when Rahul Gandhi spoke in parliament, or later, or his cultivation of MK Stalin as an elder brother, he just did not have that build that kind of a kinship relationship with Stalin, but he also borrowed heavily from Dravidian ideology, and he thought that was a kind of solution to the centralizing impulse of Modi and BJP. So he started speaking federal politics. He started speaking about federal autonomy. He started speaking about caste census. He started speaking mandal politics. Where did he pick up all that? And rationality in politics, a kind of giving up his temple runs to do a far more rational kind of arbitrage or argument in public life. So he picked up a lot from the ideological positions of the Dravidian parties. And finally, when he saw somebody like Vijay, get a kind of vote which was unprecedented, and nobody knows why he got that. There was no program. There was no particular reason. It's some kind of fandom and a kind of cinema hypnoticism that has brought him to power. We still don't know what he stands for. So if Rahul Gandhi can surrender to a newbie like that for the sake of two cabinet berths and abandon a project which has been built over the years, and what has he done to opposition unity then? Then you look at West Bengal. What was his line of attack against Mamta? That she has destroyed the state, she is most corrupt. And did he stand up for Mamta's argument when she was speaking about SIR? She came to Delhi, she went to the Supreme Court, Did the Congress issue even a line in solidarity of her fight against SIR? So it is anarchic politics which we still haven't come to terms with. We don't know what's going to happen with the alliance that he has carved. Yesterday, Pinarayi Vijayan, he attacked BJP and he asked, "Is Rahul Gandhi now happy?" So what does that mean for the Congress's alliance with CPM and CPI and the left front? And what did Stalin call him? Backstabber. What did Udayanidhi Stalin speak on the floor of the assembly in Tamil Nadu? So this kind of optics and this kind of rhetoric which surrounds Rahul Gandhi, now you should tell me whether that can be called pragmatism or successful politics, or he has matured as something. I mean, he's matured into something else. I think we have to be brutal about asking these questions. The final question is: has he been able to put Modi on the mat? That is the question. So you can create consolation prizes as you go along, that nobody cares about.
So coming back to Karnataka, yes, Siddaramaiah, you've given us a possible explanation as to why he probably went down without a fight. But then today was a day of subtle messaging. One, of course, is him openly stating that he was offered a Rajya Sabha seat, but he declined that, almost saying no to the High Command's face. The other is a day before he did resign, he accepted the caste census. Then he's had, this online sort of support. Many people outside the CM's house today, all day protesting, screaming out pro Siddaramaiah, some even going pro DK Shivakumar, some even screaming against, or rather giving their statements out against the Congress's alleged neglect of the Dalits and others like Parmeshwar and others were dropped out. So, what do you make of all of these sort of subtle messages? Does this mean that there's going to be more than one power center in Karnataka? Will Shivakumar now be, I don't know, will he have to remain second fiddle to Siddaramaiah's powers?
No, Sidram, that's precisely why he did not go to Delhi, because there is a son's career to be made, and then there is scores to settle, and then there is a lot of kind of give and take that still has to happen. So that's probably one of the reasons. That's it's a very obvious thing. And the second thing is this whole accepting the caste census and all that. See, he got the caste census done in his first term, and he never accepted the Kantraj committee report even when he was in power. So this posturing when you're going out of power means very little. Number one. Number two, now you can say that you are a leader of the minorities. You are the leader of backwards. You are the leader of the Dalits. Now, if you start looking at it one by one, backwards, how many backwards have voted with the Congress except for Idigas and Kurubas? The rest of them, where are they? Electorally. That's a very important question to ask. And is there anybody else speaking up among the backward classes? BK Hariprasad, who belongs to the Idiga community, not long ago was very unhappy with Siddaramaiah. Is the Kuruba community happy? H. Vishwanath has been speaking endlessly against Siddaramaiah. He has been asking, what have you done to the Kuruba community? Then if you look at the former chairman of the Backward Classes Commission, Dr. Dwarkanath and others, they have been actually, they are part of the Congress, but they have exploded against him on many occasions, not once or twice. So that backward class thing. Now Dalit, Kharge is the Dalit leader, so-called the biggest Dalit leader in Karnataka. There is Parmeshwar. So how does Siddaramaiah claim to command the Dalit vote? And the more important question is, the Dalits may sort of like him more, but there is also the BSP angle, that's a separate thing. But the left and right splinter in the Karnataka Dalit thing, the left Dalits are larger in terms of population. And who have they voted with? Who have they gone? The Madigas. Who have they gone with from 2008 on? It's the BJP. Now he has accepted internal reservation, but all of that came far too late, right? But and that was also because you saw the neighboring states do that. You also had the justice that person who retired, I forget his name, the Supreme Court judge, who allowed Arun Singh, or not Arun Singh, I forget the name of the judge. He allowed internal reservations. So it follows the Supreme Court. I've written about it. I just can't recall his name right away. He retired. He was later made the NHRC chairperson. I forget his name. So his judgment is there. So if you are a proactive person, why didn't you do it when you just got into politics? So so there is a lot to be, answered there. And minorities. And the question is, are minorities loyal to the Congress, thing? Are they? Do they want to be under the Congress umbrella, or do they see Siddaramaiah as their savior? I think the question and answer is very obvious. The Muslim, again, the same question comes in: are they loyal to the Congress or to Siddaramaiah? Are they going to shift with Siddaramaiah? See, electorally, things don't work that way at all. There is no 100% shift, or even 80% shift, or a majority shift behind a leader. Leader can fancy himself and frame himself in a certain kind of thing. That is his branding that he chooses to build. Whether that branding has been effective, has it worked for Siddaramaiah, is a very big question. 2018, we all were covering 2018. Why did Siddaramaiah, with the same Ahinda vote, why did he lose the election so badly? Not just for the party, he was a sitting chief minister. He lost his own seat in his home district of Mysore. The second seat he contested in Badami, he won where his victory margin was smaller than the Nota vote. What made him so? Were Ahinda, the minorities, backwards, and Dalits not with him that day? So if that is the case, then look at the Congress vote percentages. What was the vote percentage of the Congress when he became the chief minister of the state in 2012? 13. 2013, what was the vote percentage? 33% or 34%? And what was Krishna's vote percentage in 99? And this time, on 136 seats, they got 42%. And who was leading the party? It was DK Shivakumar who was leading the party. Was he a Ahinda leader? Kharge was national president. Were they voting for these people, or were they voting for? So those questions become obvious. These sycophants and courtiers will try to, peddle a narrative saying that, oh, everything will shift tomorrow morning. And you saw that in front of his house. I don't think that's going to happen. If that was to happen, you would have seen it in the MLAs. How many MLAs have now actually shifted? Everybody said he has 60, he has 80, he has 100. Now tell me, did even a single person come out and say, I am really upset that Siddaramaiah is going? Has even a single person said that? Somebody cried, somebody made a statement, then somebody, was accused of being very close to Siddaramaiah. I'll not take the name because it's not verified information. They said they handed over a list of 37 MLAs supporting DK. He was a scheduled tribe person, and one thought he was very, very close to Siddaramaiah. All these are flying around. We don't know the actual position. But if you had seen that split, you should have seen it in the legislature party. You should have
So,
seen it in the MLAs.
So
So that
now, I mean, this part about Ahimda, we understand that, Siddaramaiah, at least he projected himself to be pro Ahimda, the leader of the depressed and oppressed classes. But you have on the other side, the probable contender for chief minister post, DK Shivakumar, who's very clearly identified that he was anti the findings of the previous caste census, which sort of downsized the population of Vokkaligas. So does Ahim? I mean, can Ahimda? I mean, will this further lead to some of the backward sections now looking for other options now that they know that there's a chief minister who will probably stand more with the Vokkaligas than with the backward classes? Or what does Shivakumar have to do in order to regain them or build some confidence?
No, it's. That's a very smart question again. Where are they going to go? See, as I told you earlier, a majority of them have already been with the BJP. See, there is, I think, 102 castes or 103 castes in the backward classes list of Karnataka. Now, I told you two major communities have been steadfast with the Congress. Kurubas came into the Congress because of Siddaramaiah. Let's assume that's because of Siddaramaiah. but not 100% of them did not shift. Some of the you have Kurba leaders even in the BJP, but a majority, let's assume a majority of them shifted. But what is the status with the rest of them? So there has been no such dramatic shift. If there was such a dramatic shift, your electoral percentages, win percentages, should have suggested that. That is not the case. We are looking at data and speaking. We are not speaking in the air. So that has not happened. So DK may have objected to the Kantraj report's findings, but so did Siddaramaiah. Then why did he commission a second survey? Why did he have a? Oh, he wasted that money, 120 crores or whatever. It was all ready. If he had accepted it in the first term, when he had no problem, he was the Sardar of everything that he did. Why did he not do that? Why did he wait till he got elected 5 years later? See, that is the major question. So, see, with Siddaramaiah, there was a lot of expectation that was built, and then there is a lot of disappointment. With DK, there is absolutely no expectation because he's seen as a street smart kind of a character. So he may actually do a lot of good, and he may surprise you. So let's keep that much open for him. So he has not painted himself in quote unquote intellectual categories. He has not branded himself. He has just said, I am a Congress worker. Oh, I went to jail for the Congress. I have never moved out of the Congress. What is his rhetoric? His rhetoric is, I am steadfast with the Congress. I'll do anything my high command says. I will go and receive Rahul Gandhi at 2 o'clock in the night and Priyanka Gandhi at 4 o'clock in the morning. I have no problem. I am a loyal worker. That is all he's saying. So he may actually end up doing something more better. We don't know because there is very little expectation from a lot of people. And this sounding class, this the class that always keeps making this rattling noise, the opinion makers, the writers and intellect, they've all look at what Siddaramaiah did with all of them. Siddaramaiah gave them pelf and patronage like no other chief minister has done. So why will they speak against him? How much money was released to a lot of agencies about, newly formed companies to manage his social media account? Who was put in charge? Which media group did he support? Why did he support? All that is, there in the open. It's not, I'm not speaking in thin air. These are RTI papers which have been written consistently by at least one investigative site in Karnataka, which I happen to mentor.
So now going forward, now with DK Shivakumar, the likely replacement for Siddaramaiah, going forward, how do you see DK Shivakumar? What could be his challenges? I mean, what are the things that he'll have to fix in order to earn confidence, get rid of his image that he is seen more as a business manager, a money manager, a finance manager, troubleshooter? And I remember this article of yours in 2019 that everyone's calling
Please don't
Siddaramaiah.
remind that. I shouldn't be putting it up now. It was a very harsh piece. Don't remind the readers about it. Okay, yeah. It
Well,
was a lead story in Mumbai Mirror and all the mirrors. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, what do you think his challenges will be now, sir? I mean, also that he'll probably, with Satish Jarkioli, likely to take over from him as the KPCC chief. Now, there are people we've seen in the past when DK tried to meddle in Belgavi affairs, the government, I mean, it triggered sort of a reaction that which eventually ended up with the government collapsing. So, what do you think will be the challenges he faces now, sir?
Let's start with the last name that you took, Satish Jarkioli. He may have made truce with DK. See, see, he may have looked like he was on Siddaramaiah's side, but he may have made truce. That's the signals that I am reading. I don't know what others are reading. So that problem is off. So that is one part of the story. The second part is what would be his challenges. One, of course, managing Siddaramaiah, who's not leaving Bangalore. If he had gone to Delhi, it would have been a less of a problem. So that is one big management issue for him. Second, see, there is also Karge. Managing Karge is also not very easy because Karge's son is there is a lot of stake for Karge. We don't know if Priyank Karge, last time in your show, I made this startling, claim that he'll be DCM and that follows. So that may still hold good tomorrow. So managing Karge, so that is another thing. And then there is this image problem that DK has, which he that will be the biggest thing to fight, because the moment he makes a small mistake, there'll be a ton of bricks falling on him, which would never fall on Siddaramaiah. Siddaramaiah is was like this, Teflon coated chief minister. Nothing would stick to him. But DK, everything sticks to DK. So whether whether the contractors are paying more commissions, that accusation is already there. See, the transfer kind of game was always spoken about, even on the floor of the house, against Siddaramaiah's son and Siddaramaiah and all that, but nothing stuck to him. Muda is still not stuck to Siddaramaiah, but a lot of things easily stick to DK. He has a huge image problem, despite his patience and despite the fact that he's now going to wear a statesmanly coat and sit there and try to, arbiter a lot of things. But that thing is a big challenge for him. How does he convince people that he's not out there to build his empire or expand his empire, but he's out there to govern and offer something to the people? So if he does not do that, then 1994 results of the Congress party will become far truer with the Congress. See, the seats that they got in 94 and what may happen now is a very big question. So that is a challenge which DK will have to face.
Sir, before we conclude, just one, question which is not about the Congress or DK Shivakumar, but the BJP. Looking ahead, what does it mean for the BJP in terms of the repercussion of, let's say Siddaramaiah making way for DK Shivakumar? This leadership change, does it also mean something for the BJP in terms of how they need to sort of strategize?
I mean, as of now, they have no strategy. Their unit in Karnataka is probably the weakest, and the BJP president is probably the only one who has not been confirmed in this entire country, even after 3 years or 3.5 years of him being in uh, power. So today they have made changes in Haryana and Delhi and other places. One thought there will be a change here too, but then that has not happened. Probably
Yes.
they want to see who's going to be the chief minister and then probably look at it. So this whole problem of the BJP is they don't know who is going to be leading them in the state. So there is a confusion about Vijayendra. Then there is there are sugar barons and there are mining barons, and the BJP does not have a narrative at this point of time. So it's a very disappointing kind of a group of people there. It could be Niranis or sugar barons, mining barons. I mean, arbitrarily speaking about communal politics. It's a very kind of kitsch kind of party at this point of time. It's not the party that you imagine when you think of Modi or Shah or that discipline or whatever, or RSS. Please don't expect that in Karnataka. The RSS and the BJP and whatever are not the same. That it's a very different kind of BJP here. So we don't know if the BJP high command is going to come up with a solution which brings about a different kind of change for the party here. So they are currently in all the three parties, which are Janata Dal, BJP, and Congress. They are all on the same kind of line. So the new thinking in Karnataka is, oh, someone like Vijay should sort of sweep these fellows out. That is the new kind of thing. Yesterday there was a picture doing the rounds of CM Ibrahim, then Mahima Patel, MP Nadgaudar, then Ravi Krishna Reddy of the party, Mukhyamantri, all these fellows sitting and saying, "Oh, we have to just these three parties have to be cleaned up." So we will be able to do that, and none of them even will get a deposit. That's a separate question, and they don't have that kind of energy to sort of do anything. But then it's fun to watch because there is a vacuum in all the three parties. Now, DK becoming chief minister of from a Okkaliga thing, it is an existential crisis for the JDS. Now, Sidra, I I'm sure Kumaraswamy and Devegowda, who are in Delhi, both of them are in Delhi, I know. I'm sure they've had sleepless nights. And then there is this constant battle happening between Kumaraswamy and DK Shivakumar on the Bidadi project. All his Bidadi farmhouses, properties are there. What if DK starts becoming vindictive? What if he leaves no seat for the Devegowda family or Kumaraswamy's family to contest from that Ramnagaram belt or Mandya belt? So anything is possible, right? So it's a very, very difficult situation for all the three parties. That is my
Right.
reading. I think I have summed it
Right.
up like a good journalist attacking everybody.
Yes. No, thank you so much, Mr. Srinivasaraju, and thank you, Sharon, for joining in and the insights that you have given. I'm sure our viewers will enjoy it. Thank you so much for joining in today.
I had fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.